She left, he left, the dream collapsed. Grave bites forward. You're the author, write the next page. Messages in the mess. Brave bites forward. Brave bites forward. Breakfast with benefits.
She left.
He left.
The job ended.
The friendship failed.
The kids grew up and walked out the door.
The body left.
The dream shifted.
The brain left.
You went from daughter to wife, wife to mother, mother to empty nester, career woman to starting over, strong to broken, broken to rebuilding. And nobody, but nobody warned you about any of it.
Welcome to being a woman. Welcome to Breakfast with Benefits with Kriszta.
With Beyza.
Brave bites forward.
Today's guest has turned her experience navigating life's hardest chapters into lifeline for others. She's a Miami-based empowerment strategist, a certified divorce coach, and the Florida Supreme Court family mediator, the founder of GWM Coaching, where she helps individuals move through personal transitions like divorce, co-parenting, professional reinvention with clarity, confidence, and intention. She's author of a book called Strategies and Tips from a Divorce Coach, a roadmap to move forward, practical tools for navigating change with courage and clarity. Please welcome Jennifer Warren.
Jennifer is here.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be with the two of you.
Breakfast with benefits.
Your bio says you help others through navigate life's hardest transitions. And I'm so curious to ask, what was your hardest transitions? And what did it teach you that women actually need when they are in a situation when everything collapses around them?
You know, as women, we go through many different transitions in our life. In fact, we're at transition 30% of the time. And I think it's really important before I tell you what my greatest lesson, which is the transition that really helped propel me forward, was that we understand what is a transition and why it's different than an event. Event is something that happens, right? Mm-hmm. As women, we go through many life transitions: marriage, divorce, widowhood, career growth, career transition, termination. We go through health changes like menopause, or we go through being pregnant or not having the ability to conceive. So we go through so many different life transitions. And the transition is the process by which we go through a specific event. And so while there may be similar transitions, like similar events, the way we each go through it can be very different. And it's based on our past experience and our mindset.
Yeah.
So for me, I've had some major life transitions, but probably when I got divorced, it had so many different tentacles to it because it wasn't just me. I had young children. I had a group of friends that we had built a life around. I had a career. At that point, I owned a domestic placement agency, and we live in a small community, and it was more about identity. And what I learned is that there are messages in every mess, and that the most important thing is to understand that loss is part of life, and that it's also an opening to self-discovery. And it's not something that any of us look forward to. Mm-hmm. Transition is not always something that we want. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we want transition. The most important part is to realize that there is a period of disorientation. When something changes that we weren't expecting, that is the time not to look outward, but to go inward.
Inside.
Yeah.
So as you said, just to understand correctly, so this transition is events happening to us or intentional choices?
Transitions are multidimensional. It doesn't have to be one event that leads to the transition, or it could be one event. So much of this is about understanding that there are phases of transition. It's a process.
Yeah.
It's a journey. And so with any transition, there is an ending, whether it's divorce or death or termination from a career or
Ending a friendship,
ending
the
of
friendship.
leaving
ending
a
a friendship.
partner.
Yes. Or even there are times that people have small transitions, right? Minor transitions. Maybe something happened in a friendship and you're not sure you can trust that person. It wasn't a complete violation, but you're questioning it. And so there are small T transitions and big T transitions.
Like trauma.
Like
Yeah,
trauma.
and you said there is something very important. It reminded me a Turkish saying, her şerde bir hayır vardır. Like, old people saying
Yes.
when we were young, we were making fun of them. But as we grow older, hold on, that actually resonates with me, or they actually know. So it means in every bad situation that happened to you, there is a good in it. That you said.
Yes.
But it is so hard, like how you can take yourself from why this happened to me. Did I do something wrong? Like, how can I take myself out from that misery and you go crazy with that transition? Oh, this happened for a good reason. La, 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 la. I'm going to be very nice, very happy the next day. No, I go deep like, did I do this? Why this happened to me? Am I a bad person? I deserve this.
So many of us are stuck in this all or nothing thinking, right? There's a spectrum that we go through in any transition. And it's about how we reframe, right? And as young children, young adults, we don't learn this in school. We spend 49% of our waking day in our own private huddle, which means in our own inner thoughts.
That's not a nice place for me.
Which predominantly, it's not a great place for most people because most of our thoughts are negative.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And the reason they're negative is because we've been trained to protect ourselves. We're scanning always to protect ourselves. And that's part of our human nature. So it's a muscle that I work with my clients on building, this muscle of reframing. Because here's the thing, no matter what happens to us in life, as human beings, we are constantly at a choice point. And that means that in any situation, whether it is an end of a friendship, whether it's divorce, widowhood, betrayal, you're either a victim or you're a creator. And that does not mean that you can't feel sorry for yourself, right? That they're not question marks.
No, they are not.
And then at some point, you are responsible for creating the next page or being the architect of that next page. And that's why I say there are 3 phases of transition. There's the loss. Let's say it's betrayal.
Okay.
Then there's that in-between phase. That's the phase you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
there are a lot of question marks. Why did this happen to me? What did I do?
Should I fix it or let go?
Yeah.
Should,
Feeling
the shoulding.
Should.
And people say shoulding all over yourself. I didn't say a bad word. I said should, right? Should.
She's a catch. She catch everything. Damn. She's like taking.
And especially as women, we're constantly taking jabs at ourselves. And jabs, JABS, stands for we judge ourselves, we abandon ourselves, we blame ourselves, and we shame ourselves. And we do this in a thought loop, and we're not even aware of it. So in my practice, one of the stepping stones is becoming intentionally aware so that you can reframe it. Yes, things will happen in your life that will challenge you to your core. And because 2 contrary things can exist at the same time, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to take these brave bites forward?
Brave bites forward.
What is Brave Bites?
So Brave Bites Forward stemmed from, I'm a very big advocate of how we speak to ourselves and how we communicate with others is very, very important. And so I often heard my clients say, I'm going to take baby steps.
Oh,
Baby
yeah.
steps.
Yeah. We know that from,
For me, that's like
No.
No,
Don't.
like on the chalkboard, when I'm dating myself, but that's okay. When teachers used to write on the chalkboard and then they would make a loud screech, that's the way I feel about baby steps. Because why that was ever coined a phrase, I don't know, because babies have no control. They're completely dependent on people. So, your body listens to you. Your brain is listening. And so let's use empowering words. And so that was the birth for me of Brave Bites Forward, the name of my coaching program, which is based on the impact method, which is stepping stones of how you transform, how you create change in your life.
Yeah. So not stumbling like a baby, but just jump there and take it.
Well, own it.
Own it.
Right?
Yeah.
Make decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
Like a baby, you can have community that's going to pick you up.
Yeah.
That is a stepping stone to reaching out.
Yeah. I just have one question with that. We mentioned being widowed or divorced and just growing apart in a marriage. What's the first thing that you tell women who feels that the life they built around them is suddenly gone?
So the most important thing is to acknowledge where they are. As women and as practitioners, we want to help people move forward. And we have to meet them right where they are. Mm-hmm. And acknowledging someone, yes, you're feeling disoriented, right? Yeah. You're feeling this loss. And there are stages to this loss. And now's not the time to figure out some grand scheme of where your life is going. Let's discuss what it is that you're feeling. There's a saying, you need to feel in order to heal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the more we resist, the more the emotion persists, right? And so really what I call the 3 A's of change, right? Developing this awareness. Yes, I'm feeling a loss. Yes, I'm feeling disoriented. Yes, I'm questioning my identity.
And it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Oh, it's okay.
We don't let ourselves, I think, as you talked about shame and be poking and hurting ourselves, like we don't let ourselves to feel these feelings.
And that's part of the human experience. And that's why this in-between stage of transition is so important because we don't develop clarity without introspection.
Yeah.
And we don't develop confidence without action. The third stage of this new beginnings, we will get to it. And first we have to become aware and acknowledge, that's the second A of the 3 A's of change, where we are and where we want to go and how we're going to get there. And the how develops over time. It develops through these brave bites forward.
And would this kind of approach that you do would apply to all situations in life, like friendship, romantic,
like we have
friendship.
10,000 millions transition as a woman?
Yeah,
you mean
like
that?
divorce. Or
We keep
leaving
saying
the
divorce,
job,
guys.
like empty nesters. So basically
Empty nesters,
the approach
yeah.
is the same.
The same. And by the way, as long as we're talking about the words we use, I don't say empty
No more
nesters.
divorce.
Oh,
right?
yeah, yes. What do you...
Empty is a disempowering word when things are
Yeah.
empty. So I say we are bird launchers.
I love
Launching our
that. I
birds.
love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
By the way, we met with Jennifer on Rocking, right?
Yes.
Miami Rocks, like RUCK, and we're walking with weights. That's how I met Jennifer. And she's catching you when you say something negative, like
Right.
you negative about. She's like, don't use that. Don't say that. And it's so amazing. That's when I invited her to our podcast. She said, of course. And I was like, yes, I'm going to share her with all our listeners. Perfect.
Well, I so appreciate that. And I just want to say, I never say don't say that. I
See?
say, what
It
could
could-
you,
even
I
that
could say,
I
what,
do wrong.
what could you say that would be more empowering? Because I want it to come from you. And whatever comes from us is. And so, yes, this impact method works for any type of transition. And it stands for intentional awareness, mindset, personal power,
Okay.
adaptability, community that leads to transformation. And it's not linear, just like the grief stages are not linear. They're fluid. So the more you learn about each of the stepping stones, the more you can effectuate change in your life. Which, going back to the 3 A's, you have the awareness, then you have the acknowledgement, and the third A is the action. that brave bite forward. What are you going to do about it?
How do you embrace the bird launching? Okay, your life is changing. It's a process. It's a grieving, a
Yes.
loss.
Yeah.
What's your advice to people in situations like that not to get stuck in their grief and move on?
So again, it's about acknowledging where that person is, that they've entered a new chapter of their lives. And two things, again, can exist at the same time. The and mindset, which I described before, or the even if mindset. So even if our children have gone to college, what else can fulfill us? We are still mothers.
Yeah.
It just looks different.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
It's not
I was
an
always
all
thinking I'm
or
not
nothing.
a mother anymore. Woo, graduation. No, it's not gonna happen.
You're
I
still going to
can't-
wear your heart outside of your body. Yes. Because I have a 23 and a 20-year-old.
Oh,
So I
yes.
have bird launched. And I have to say that the experience has taught me many things. It has taught me that the love I have for my children is unconditional. When they come home, even just for a short period of time, because my son is in college, I love it. And it hurts me because I would love for them still to be here. And I remind myself that these are the seeds of change that I watered for such a long time.
Brave bites with
Such a beautiful way to put it like that.
And this is the gift, continuing human nature and humankind and giving back to the world. And it also has offered me time for self-discovery, self-reflection, and has brought me to a beautiful place in my life. Because here's the thing, I say this often to my clients, that I'm in chapter 56 of my life. Yes, I'm 50 years old. Okay?
A hot fifth,
Right.
baby.
Yes.
And
The
I
process.
am in section 10 of my 56th chapter of my book. Why? Because my birthday's in June. I'm in the 10th month
You're
of my
June?
56th.
Oh.
Just like me.
Of course, you guys
And I'm
are
on
the-
page
I'm a girl.
16 today. And I'm a sum of all of my experiences, good, bad, indifferent. And yet, how I decide to write page 16, today's April 16th, is up to me. I'm the author.
Okay.
And so while I hold some sadness that this stage of my children's childhood is over, I'm reframing, and it's a choice to be fulfilled in where I am now and still guide them as they move forward. Does that
Jennifer-
make sense?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Now I wanted that. Sometimes when I look to the old pictures of my kids, not my son though, I'm like, oh, I don't want to leave those days again. My daughter, it's such a unbelievable loss feeling. That's another person. I'm not saying she's changed, transition every year. She's now teenager. Before she was 10. Before every year she's a different person. And I'm a little bit struggling because I miss every part. Like I miss 10, 7, 4, 3, 9. I need to reframe that.
Want to. When we need to do something, it's a responsibility. When we want to do something, it's more empowering. If we commit to doing something. And again, we are brought up again with this all or nothing thinking. Why can't two contrary things exist at the same time? Why can't you miss that period and for where you are and all the things that you have to look forward to?
So this is reframing. I should
Right.
reframe. We love our kids till death and I don't have her anymore. That's person gone from my life.
Well, by the way, you are also not the same person.
oh,
You both actually transitioning.
I felt sorry for them right now. Because I'm a really much worse person right now
No,
after
that's-
menopause.
You're in the process of becoming, right? And there are different stages of our life where we feel more deeply. We don't show up as our best selves. And that's okay, as long as we take responsibility. I often say, especially with our children, that behaviors are not only taught, they're also caught. We have to be very careful of what we teach our children versus how they see us acting. So if there are periods of time that you didn't show up as your best self and you can recognize it, it's never too late
Yeah.
to tell your
Course
children
correct.
or
Course
tell
correct.
a friend.
Oh, at
or
least
tell,
I am good at that immediate correction. That happened because of this.
But it doesn't have to be immediate. If you look back on a period where you were menopausal and you could see that you didn't show up as your best self and maybe something happened with a friend, 2 years later, 3 years later, you can own it. I'm reflecting back on certain periods of my life, and I want you to know I gave you a really hard time then. And now I understand why you were so upset. I didn't realize what I was going through. Owning your transition is also really important because everyone wants to be heard and acknowledged.
Yeah, we just been
true.
with Kriszta through a transition
On a friend.
All my menopause symptoms came back. Everything came back. My depression came back. But I know the starter point was that transition. Then you told me something about the number 3 on another walk. And I felt so great after that. What was it? The number 3.
Number 3 people doing something is often very difficult. I believe in even numbers, right? Because then you
Except
can...
threesome.
No, listen, some people love that. Where her mind,
Sorry.
where her mind goes. Yes,
No
yes.
more.
Wow,
And
Kriszta.
listen, some people need that to move through a transition. Whatever works for you.
Interesting.
Right? We'll talk more about that later.
Breakfast with benefits.
And just going back to what I said before and having our children see us recognize and identify and acknowledge our periods of transition. And this situation that happened with you, you're very much in a new beginning. And the way through is only through. I
Yes.
speak to so many people and I say, it's your choice whether you want to stay in your comfort zone. And you can stay in that comfort zone and still be uncomfortable in the comfort zone. And then it's important, their only way through to growth is through fear. To feel all of the things that are holding you back and to take these brave bites forward. And there's an acronym for fear that I really love, which is...
Can I ask a
Yes.
question, just staying with the
Yes.
friendship? Is there a difference between a friendship fading away organically or a friendship breaks dramatically?
Here's the thing. A friendship that breaks dramatically has to do with how the individuals communicate and handle conflict management. And the fading away is that sometimes people change and they are not the same people. They're not the same people with the same interests, the same desires, the same
I have
goals.
friendships like that.
Right? And oftentimes break is when clarity cannot be developed because we cannot parent our friends, right? And no two people have the same maturity level at the same time. And so a break could be because there's just a difference in the way you communicate and you handle conflict.
Oh, we were like that,
Yes.
and nodding with Chris.
And the thing is at the end of the day, you know, when you're on an airplane, whether you're traveling with kids, your husband, your friends, before you go in the air, what do they say to you about the masks?
Oh, put it on your child first. No, put it on yourself first. Sorry.
That's what most women do.
Pleaser of others, always.
Okay, not always.
Wrong.
You're in the process of becoming. So it may be in this moment, you will remember this and you have the opportunity to change.
Of course.
Like,
And she thought about it. She was like, what was it?
you're not alone in that. You're not alone in that. And so it's about recognizing in that period of a break that I need to put my mask on first. And as women, we often think that's selfish.
Look at me.
It's actually selfless. And if we're not going to do it for ourselves,
No one's
then
gonna do it.
no one's going to do it. And nothing is necessarily permanent. My father used to say, except for death and taxes. So there could be a break now. And then there could be a period of acknowledgement in the future. If that happens, that's wonderful. And if it doesn't, there are messages in every mess, like I said. And you forge your new beginnings.
Yes, that's great. Yeah. So then how is a healthy break looks like when everybody walks away with dignity and peace?
Peace is something that comes with time. And your relationship to the break, like somebody's relationship to grief, shifts over time. And giving yourself the gift of grace. as more time transcends, you will take more messages and be able to reframe more easily as long as you stand in your intentional awareness, right?
And I think you said it before, but communication is such a key part of it.
And also how you handle conflict, right?
Yes.
Most people, and I said this earlier, and that's why my mission is to create a community of learners, especially in this area of transition and becoming more mindful and intentionally aware, is because the more you learn, the more you see. And we are not taught these skills in a classroom.
By the way, how amazing that will be. It will be if it's in elementary schools and learners are creating learners. What a wonderful phrase is that.
Yeah.
Learners.
You were mentioning earlier that there was a saying.
In every mess, there is a good in it. Like
Right.
There is
And growing up, my mom used to say to me, oh, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. When you're a child, ignorance is bliss. You know, they don't need to know necessarily all the terrible things are happening in this world. We give them the gift of childhood. And yet, as you become older, ignorance is not bliss. I'll give you a perfect example. I shouldn't say perfect because I don't believe in the word perfect, right? That's a very
She does that to me
It's
too.
a very and I am very mindful of the words I use. So as soon as I said that,
Now
I was
you're
like,
underlining it.
right.
Later,
Yes.
you're going to stop before you say it. Then you're going to forget about it.
Because it's like working a muscle, eliminating certain things from your vocabulary, learning to reframe. But the word perfect, I don't even know why it exists because it's a setup. There is nothing that is perfect. But going back to ignorance is bliss is when I was going through my own divorce, there were so many tentacles to divorce. I didn't even know the questions to ask necessarily. I mean, I learned them. I became an avid reader and I've always been a resource person. So I asked a lot of people. But ignorance is not bliss, right? It's important to be an avid learner, to choose learning every day. So what I do, and it's very helpful, is every night before I go to bed, I do something called the GLAD technique, GLAD.
I remember you told me that.
And what GLAD is, one thing that I'm grateful for that happened today on page 16 of my life.
G.
Okay, one thing. And everybody has something to be grateful for, even if it's, I didn't want to get out of bed and I did, okay? L is what I learned during the day. The seek being a learner. Everybody learns something. The A is, what do I acknowledge about myself? Now, if I were to say to you, to either one of you, how many times a day do you check in with yourself?
Not a lot. At
Okay.
night, maybe at night.
Okay,
Check-in,
right?
when you say check-in, like how you feel? Or
Yes, yes.
Oh, then
Reflect. Yeah.
You know, reflect, acknowledge, I did something, you know, that was really good what I did today.
Positively, 0.
Okay.
But negatively,
That's
like
gotta
all the
change.
time.
That's
right.
gotta
All the time.
And so, you know, I invite you, and I would be curious if you focus on the check-in, how your inner private huddle starts to shift, right? As women, we are so trained to look outside of ourselves. So the check-ins, that daily acknowledgement of something that you've done that you're proud of. And then the D is something that delighted you. Because our brain is constantly scanning and our thoughts are mostly negative, to protect ourselves.
Yes.
Brave bites forward.
Training our brain to look for things that delight us. Have you ever heard of glimmers? Glimmers are the opposite of triggers.
Oh,
So triggers are the things that, you know, affect you.
It's such a sweet word.
We
Glimmers.
should create a
Jennifer
vocabulary.
dictionary. Yes,
dictionary.
Some of
Gen
my friends call
dictionary.
them the Genisms.
Yeah, I love it,
And a lot of
Genism.
them are not mine, but because I'm such an avid reader and learner, there's a saying, when you learn, give back. And that's something that's really important to me. But something that delights you, something that happened during the day that made you happy.
Yeah, you're
Right?
The first sip of morning coffee.
Yes, it could be a
That's-
I'm
small
right there
thing.
with you. It's like this, I could
Every
smell
morning
it
that
before.
I do to myself, when I smell the coffee, have my first sip, this is nice. One positive thing I do.
Good.
Look at me.
And I think it's so important to
Glimmer.
start out
No,
the day like that, to give this little reflection, even if it's at night or in morning, but to start the day or maybe go to bed in a way that you do the gratitude,
Yes.
loving yourself, value your...
Can I ask glimmer again?
Yes.
Because I loved it. So-
Glimmers are the opposite of triggers. So glimmers. Today, coming here and looking forward to being with the two of you and having this organic conversation was a glimmer for me. Having that morning coffee or having your husband smile at you, that's a glimmer. And being intentional about noticing it. So much of our lives, especially women, we are human doers. And yet we're called human beings for a reason. And why are we not spending more time being?
Yeah.
We create all
we have
of these.
checklists.
Yes,
we live
so-
on checklists. Check.
Yes,
Are you
these-
And then I
connecting
had a
to
good
your
day.
list?
Yes.
Are you?
Let me tell you, we
Yes.
have these to-do lists.
Yeah.
What if we set the intention of having to-be lists? And that's what I mean by checking in with yourself, and especially bringing this back to transition, right? When we're going through transition and something has ended, there's been a loss, and we're in that second phase of in between, right? That is the time when we're doing a lot of questioning. Why is this
could.
happening to me? Why, what I could have done this differently. I could have done that differently. That is the time to really step into your personal power and your intentional awareness, two of the stepping stones. So what I suggest in my practice is to habit stack these check-ins. So what habit stacking is to stack a habit to something you already do. For example, like brushing your teeth. People don't think it's a habit, but it is a habit that you develop. And most adults brush their teeth twice a day. So stacking a check-in to brushing your teeth is very helpful. And studies show that when you're brushing your teeth, most people are forecasting the future, meaning like thinking about what they're going to do, or they're thinking about what has happened, rehashing.
Yes, that's the most boring part of my day.
Yeah.
I always thinking what I can do while I brush my teeth.
Really?
Yes. I'm like, such a wasted time.
It's so interesting. I have no thoughts when I'm brushing my teeth. Or
So you
sometimes I'm
think-
looking at myself in the mirror. That's when I'm doing the mirror, checking
Yes.
in with the mirror.
That's beautiful.
That's good.
Can give yourself
Yeah.
a high five, like Mel Robbins talks about.
I need to apply
Want
that.
to,
I don't
want
do
to,
that. Yeah.
want to. Need is
Yes,
a
I want
disempowering
to.
word. And so being present, that is really the only place that we have control, right? And so if we want to effectuate change, if we want the new beginning, the third phase of transition, we have to be the creator or the architect. And checking in with ourselves is part of taking those brave bites forward. So in the morning, you could set an intention for yourself. What is something I can do today that will bring happiness? Maybe it's taking a 10-minute walk. And when you accomplish something, you feel better.
Would you share your routine for the day? What do you do in the morning? What do you do before you go to
your
bed?
glimmers.
Yeah.
Your glimmers.
My glimmers.
yeah.
My first thing in the morning is when I wake up, I say a prayer. Very quickly, it's the same prayer every morning. And then, I have my coffee, I have my dogs. If you have animals in your house, if you make a habit of stroking them, okay,
so
there's an
beautiful.
emotional regulation
Yes.
to that. I'm a somatically trained practitioner. Soma is your body. And how you bring yourself back into your window of tolerance, right? Where you can actually think from what I call the penthouse versus the basement thinking, where penthouse think is when you come from logical reasoning, you're responding. You're not reacting from the basement.
Can I stroke my
That's
kids?
also good.
You can, you know what? You know what you can
I
stroke?
stroke my son. I do.
That's so important.
Yeah, in
Yes.
the mornings, I'm like,
Who is the most important person to stroke?
Yourself.
she knew.
Yourself.
Oh.
And who do we stroke?
In this episode, I keep saying,
changing.
like Patrick in SpongeBob SquarePants, constantly.
That's funny. And who do we stroke the least as women?
Ourselves.
Ourselves.
That's right. That's right. And so somatically, I teach clients, felt sense. Felt sense is
Let's
how
do this.
you,
Let's do it.
how you touch yourself. And people say, we're not going to talk about
We're not talking about that.
That is very important, by the way, but that could be another segment.
Yeah.
But the touching ourselves through felt sense, whether you've seen hugging or you've seen tapping, the
This
tapping.
is who I am. I touch myself and I feel, oh, my arms got fat.
Oh, you're taking jabs at yourselves, judging, abandoning, blaming, and shaming.
I thought my arms were nice. Now I'm like, what the hell? They got bigger. When
And
that
how
happened?
can you reframe that?
I want muscles.
I want muscles.
Okay, so I'm going to start
muscles.
going to the gym.
Yes.
Whatever follows I am is. And remember, again, your brain and your body, they're always listening. So it's important to be, if you catch yourself saying something negative about yourself, create the habit of reframing.
I like this a lot. When you catch yourself, negative thoughts.
And you have to be good to
stop,
both of them.
Stop
Your
there.
mind
Stop
and body.
there and reframe it again.
Yes, reframe it. And you're always a choice. And so many people, they have these negative thoughts and they get into the car with them and they keep driving. You don't have to get into the car. You can just wave bye-bye to that car and ask yourself, what can I do that would be helpful in this moment? What is the brave bite forward I can take?
Yes, brave by forward.
So this is, and it's a practice, right? And when you practice, you get better.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's important, and I go back always to awareness. When you learn these skills and you start to practice them, they almost become these essential parts of your life, like oxygen, that you want them in your life.
Like when you start working out. I remember many years ago when I started, and when I stopped, I was missing it. I'm not so good these days, but I can totally understand that when you start missing something that becomes a habit, it's good for you.
And so I want to ask you a question. What I just heard you say is, I'm not so good at it. How could you reframe that?
Be careful. She
I
catch
know.
everything.
She hears us. Lately, I am not so intentional, and I like to change that.
Excellent. Yay! And what I want to invite you to do is later, if you remember this moment, when you're looking at yourself like you do in the mirror when you brush your teeth, I want you to role play what happened just in this minute with the phrase, I'm not so good, or I want to be more intentional. And you will feel an energy shift in your body. Yes. And when you feel it and you start to recognize it, you want to do more of it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so that's the seed I'm hoping to plant in you today. And then it's a matter of you watering it, tending to it, and being present with it, and really acknowledging how you're filling your own soul. Because, like I said in the beginning, women go through many transitions. We have so many roles that we are taking on during this period of womanhood. And it's important that we learn to first soothe ourselves, acknowledge ourselves, be honest, understand that we all go through periods of uncertainty.
Yeah.
We spend very little time in settled certainty. And it's about, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to keep ourselves in this process of becoming?
So this is like a motto. If someone's in transition out there who's listening to us, this is what they can come to, right?
Yes.
And assess the current situation where
Right.
they are, and then
3
make
A's.
the 3 A's.
Of change. And also within any given day, listen, periods of transition can be extremely difficult, and it's giving yourself grace. And oftentimes what I will help create for clients is something they can do each day. And
Like building blocks.
yes, building blocks. And here are the 3 things to think about. A framework that you can practice. And I invite you to do this is one thing during the day that you're going to do, whether that's go for a walk, call a friend for coffee, or even if it's get out of bed and go sit in the living room. It could be something within the confines of your home, because if you're in a stage of grief where you're just moving from one part of the room to another,
something very small.
creating momentum. One thing that you can acknowledge that you did. or are going to do. It's an intention. The second thing is loving yourself, acknowledging yourself. What is one thing during that day that you're going to focus on that you're proud of? And even in your grief, if you set that intention, you can accomplish it. It's just a matter of focusing on it. And then the third thing is put something on your calendar that you're going to look forward to, whether it's going to visit your child, whether it's going to the flower store, the florist, and buying flowers. Something to look forward to, right? And these are strategies that help people take these brave bites forward. When it's a really hard transition,
that when when you feel yourself stuck, it has to be loss, divorce, like big ones, right?
And listen, even in small,
not like moving houses or something like
well,
this.
maybe
that's also,
even a small
that's
T
very
transition.
stressful.
Yes, I would call that a big T transition.
Yes, me too.
Moving home.
Physically, psychologically.
We are experts. What are you talking
We
about?
are, but every time,
Change
maybe
how many
I'm getting
countries?
older.
16 houses probably
Yeah.
I moved so
But
far.
for me, it was always mentally challenging, saying goodbye to something that we got used to.
Yes.
People, furniture,
changing
whatever.
countries is a big one.
And then
it's relational
leave
as
things
well.
behind.
I got it.
And physically also because
Yes.
you're packing and whatever. It's big. It's a big T.
Yes, and
For me, it's a big T.
transitions carry all those components.
Yeah.
The emotional component, the physical component, the relational component. And it's about understanding, too, that you live in a community. And it's about how to be a resource person, right? And how to step into your own authenticity and know that others struggle. We may struggle in different ways because transition is a process. It's as a result of an event. And how do you create community for yourself? And even sitting here talking, you realize you're not alone. People experience some of the sentiments and the doubt that you do.
That's our goal. I was going to say that was the podcast goal. Like,
to create like a digital community. But I was just going to say that being here, living in Miami right now, I see so many women communities being built and coming together, which for me, it's really beautiful. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's happening now with the world changing and there is so many things happening digitally and you want to connect in real time with people. It's beautiful to be part of it.
And I also see, I don't know if you know this, that loneliness is at an all-time high.
oh, yes.
Yes.
Right? Among teenagers as well, by the way. The researchers are saying yes.
Yes. And again, it goes back to putting your mask on first. How can I be a resource person? Do I reach out to a priest, a rabbi, a friend, a teacher? I have to just give you just a quick little example. I love meeting new people. And I was interviewed for this magazine, and the following month I saw that this woman was interviewed. She had written a book. She was fascinating to me just by what I read. So I reached out to her on Instagram, and we had lunch last Saturday.
Oh, nice.
And it was so beautiful to listen to how she empowered herself through her struggles. Her book is about being an unloved child and learning to see the light within herself. That's so important for people to understand that being authentic and sharing your vulnerabilities is a strength.
Absolutely.
It is not a weakness. And that's why for the past year I've been doing these workshops. I love to come to people's homes. People are getting tired of going out and people playing mahjong or book club.
Yeah, everybody's
What
playing
is this
mahjong.
mahjong? Well, I'm like,
Listen, it's
the
great
new
for your
hot
mind.
style.
no, I used to play when I was a little kid on the new first Apple computers. It was solitaire or mahjong. So,
Oh, mahjong was part of that? Interesting.
Yes, it
I
was
didn't
like,
know that.
So everyone
Yeah.
was playing. Mahjong
Yes.
was one of them. Why it is so popular now?
It's bringing communities together.
it is. It helps with your mind.
Being in a place together with women, learning something, enjoying something, sharing,
Can we not just
learning.
dance and listen music?
We can do that.
Or you could
That's
come
gonna
to,
be
or you
our-
can invite me for brunch or for cocktails. I do that. It's so fun. A friend of mine just had me for brunch. She had 10 women. We spoke about communication. We can talk about resiliency, love languages, any type of topic, even with couples. It's fun to do love languages. And then then you teach others about these skills and strategies, and it's like pebbles. and they create ripples effect.
And
then
we are
that way-
always learning, always.
Yes, if that's your intention.
Yes.
If you have an open mindset.
Speaking for myself, I could not imagine not learning. And there are so many things you can learn every day. And I'm hungry to learn. We're just so undone.
Yes. And you bring up something very important when you say there's so many things to learn. Oftentimes when women are going through transition, they will say to me, I just don't know what's next. I don't have any passions. And the word passion to me is such a setup. It's almost like the word perfect.
Yeah.
As individuals, particularly as women, we have a lot of different curiosities. So why not focus on the things that you're curious about? Let's start generating a list. It's not necessarily a passion. I'm very lucky because I have a passion, but not everybody has a passion. My passion is doing exactly what I'm doing right now. But we all have curiosities. And so let's take brave bites into some of these curiosities, and we don't know where it's going to take us.
That's the beauty in it.
That's right. We're all unfolding. like you say.
Probably your friend, now I'm thinking while you were saying passion, yes, it's a bad word, but also we're so blocked by watching everybody else's passions.
On Instagram.
You don't have time to think about your curiosities and about your passions, because those times taken away from us, just looking at others.
Not taken away from us.
Huh?
We choose to do that.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
And that's
Yes.
the thing. And the more you become intentionally aware of owning your own time and creating boundaries for yourself, whether it's a digital boundary, or whether it's a boundary with a friend, the more you show up authentically and the more you give yourself time to ponder what it is that's going to be, for example, on page 17.
Can we go back a little bit to continue on that note? What's your routine on
Oh, sorry,
daily?
sorry.
So
Sorry.
just wanted to
During
make
the-
sure that
Yes.
People say we need to have a structure, but this is a conversation. We
Yes,
just talk, we carry it away.
So, after I do my morning prayer, I have my coffee, I make a habit of stroking my dogs. I usually go and work out because movement is medicine. So I work out at least 5 days a week. And if I can't go to the gym, then I'm walking, and we have our Tuesday group, which I love. And then I work, and then I go to work. And in between clients, I make sure that I am resetting myself.
Brave bites forward.
do you journal?
I don't journal, but I'm a writer. So like right now I'm in the process
I
of,
was just going to say, she doesn't need to journal. She's
Yeah.
writing
And-
books.
and
I
listen,
know, but you can still journal.
Yes, and-
Journals actually become books for some people.
yes, and that's how I wrote my first book, and I'm writing my second book on Brave Bites Forward. And I shouldn't say no, I don't journal, because if you go into my car or by my bed, you will see notebooks, chicken scratch. I'll be driving,
I love
listening
that.
to a podcast.
You write something
That was
down.
a great idea. I love the way that person said it, and I write it down.
Oh.
And so journaling can mean different things to different people. It could be just writing your one thing you're grateful for, 5 things you're grateful for, or checking in with yourself, or listening to a podcast or a book and having something resonate with you.
Yeah.
Writing things down is the way of imprinting them in your brain. And you have a better chance of using that learned fact going forward.
Yeah, or something that you connected so much. Yeah, I do that. I put it on my phone.
Yeah.
I'm totally not a digital native, right? So I scribble down next to my computer. I have papers and pens, and I write things down.
Yes,
Yes,
there's a
yes, yes.
saying, if you think it, you write it, then when you say it, you own it. Think it, write it, say it. So
Genism.
another genism. So my routine, I want people to not get stuck in a fixed routine, right? My routine is very fluid, and I'm very intentional. I'm very intentional about checking in with myself at least 3 times a day and figuring out where I See, I catch myself. I want you to understand that this is a process for me too.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Just because I am sharing skills and strategies with you doesn't mean it's not a work in progress for me too. However, you can see my thought process. I may say it and then I reset. I heard myself say it. And that's what I'm encouraging your listeners to do. Just to start listening to themselves, because wherever they go, there they are. John Kabat-Zinn from mindfulness meditation, right? We're always with ourselves. How can we be the best versions of ourselves? And how can we be the good mothers to ourselves?
Oh, that's so beautifully.
She
I love
just
that.
give the punch right now. Yes. Mothers, because when I was listening to you, yes, I'm hugging myself. I'm thinking about myself. I put the mask to myself. And little moment there, I said, I wish someone would do that for me. As a mother and mother yourself. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And if you want somebody to do it for you, if you have that thought,
That's
about how you express yourself, right?
I do a little bit, yes.
You know, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's being a resource person, wanting someone to help you.
This is when I'm very tired. Like I wish someone will take care of me, as in
I will come over and rock you this night to sleep. Okay?
Yes.
And bring the dog too.
Sharing that with your friends and your loved ones, that's part of becoming. You know, so many women, we think we have to do it all, and it's exhausting. How can we shift that? How can we ask for what we need? How can we set that as an intention so that we have more time to be?
I did your to-be list before bed. You told me that. And
Good.
Not to-do list, be list.
To-be list.
And what is the to-be list before bed?
To-be list, it can be in any time during the day. I want to be calm. I want to be honest in the way I move towards my values. I want to laugh today. These are things that we don't set the intention most often of having it in our day-to-day life, right?
Because of our to-do lists.
Because of our to-do list and because we're not being intentionally aware. It is a practice. Whatever you focus on expands. So if you're focused on having something in your life that's funny, you will search for it. You will scan for it.
It happens.
It does. You will look for it.
We have to get out of the autopilot mode.
We live life sleepwalking most of the time. And what I'm suggesting is that if we spend more time, 3 times a day, start with once, opportunities to see, check in with yourself in the morning when you're brushing your teeth. That one time, the more you do it, the more you're going to want to do it. But again, it's about taking that brave bite forward.
Jenism, how can we have more Jenism? Because this podcast is not going to be enough for me. How can I have more you?
So I have a website, jwmcoaching.org. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at jwmcoaching. And I'm always here. I do one-on-one coaching, I do group coaching, and I do these workshops. And I love working with people. I love seeing the seeds planted and then what becomes of them. I just want to say to people that your story is unfolding and you are the author of your story. And even if there have been chapters or several chapters that have been so incredibly difficult, I want you to think about the messages in that mess. And there are 2 words in messages, mess and age. And as you shift in relationship to whatever has transpired, how you look at it shifts. And the lessons may change over the years. There is something to learn in everything you go through. And you can do hard things.
Thank you so much. This was so inspiring.
I don't want to end.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you.
Left, he left, the dream collapsed, grave bites forward. You're